On Gold Rush, you saw Parker Schnabel brave cold rivers and win record amounts of gold. Today, though, I'm telling you the sad side of the tale that is rarely seen on camera. Every triumph is accompanied with sacrifice, emotional, physical, and far too frequently, devastating loss. You'll see the gold-fueled dream in a whole new way by the end if you stick with me through every revelation, especially the last one that permanently altered Parker's life. At the age of 12, Parker experienced his first tragedy when his grandfather, John Schnabel, passed out in the middle of a particularly trying Yukon season. The guy who had started their family's legacy almost died of a serious heart attack, which is what the show cuts into a dramatic break. Parker, who was too young to operate the D9 bulldozer, ended up on the radio requesting an evacuation and then at his grandfather's hospital bedside through the night while doctors labored. Gold may shine, but real life may shatter in a second. That was Parker's first real lesson. Parker's personal life suffered as he began to handle more heavy gear in his teens. Long lengths on the creek meant missing birthdays, graduations, and eventually his mother's illness. Cameras rarely see Parker's expression when he finds out his mother's cancer has returned, instead focusing on pay dirt pans and sluice box collapses. With a shovel in his hand and tears in his eyes, he flew home for a day after sneaking out of the camp at dawn. In his private notebook, he referred to that day's haul as hollow gold, serving as a reminder that every ounce that was mined had a human cost. The most tragic event occurred in 2021 when Parker's best friend and longtime crew chief, Jake Church, lost his life in an off-season backcountry snowmobiling accident. In the middle of the flight to Alaska, Parker heard the news and found Jake's death. For the following 48 hours, he staggered through the camp in disbelief, not eating and hardly talking. Once a place of victory, Gold Creek now felt like a jail. Parker fought depression alone and refused to dredge for weeks as he attempted to negotiate with fate. Only fleeting images were captured by production teams, a lone figure gazing off into space, and an open cigarette jar, and the customary motivational speeches replaced by stony silence. However, Parker had the most significant metamorphosis from that gloom. He painted his dredge red and named it Church's Redemption in honor of Jake, dedicating the first pay dirt of the following season to his memory. Parker stood atop the cascade, with a clutch of gold and tears running down his cheeks, on the day they made their biggest recovery ever. "This one's for you, brother," he said, his voice faltering, to the cameras. That moment was felt by viewers everywhere: unadulterated love, unadulterated grief, and the bittersweet taste of triumph that neither gold nor ratings could ever fully replace. The last and most devastating aspect, however, occurred during the off-season when Parker's long-standing romantic partner decided she couldn't cope with the monotony of living in isolated Alaska year after year. For weeks, Parker's world was shut off by that terrible and intimate breakup. "I built these dredges to rescue lives buried in rock. I never expected I'd dig myself into heartbreak," he admitted off camera. In order to broaden his business endeavors and be nearer to his loved ones, he invested in safer on-road gold processing facilities during the next winter, which he spent in peaceful contemplation. What can be learned from Parker Schnabel's experience with tragedy then? Although gold might add wealth to your life, it can also put your heart to the ultimate test. Achieving success via sacrifice necessitates striking a balance between ambition and the importance of relationships and health. Here's a call to action. If Parker's tale inspires you, get in touch with someone you've lost touch with, schedule time for one important relationship, and keep in mind that some things like love, loyalty, and life are far more valuable than gold. Because ultimately, the warmth of a human connection cannot be replaced by even the most valuable gold bar.